Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Today we're going to be taking a look at a vintage knife, and this is one that was made in Sheffield. Now very recently I've got massively into my older Sheffield knives. Collection has grown ridiculously quick in the last sort of month or two. I just seem to be picking them up and I just can't seem to stop. So I'm going to start sharing with them as I go. Now with these old Sheffield knives I wanted to do a bit of research into the company and find out a little bit more about the maker and things like that. So these videos will be showing the knife and then a little bit of history as well, so I hope you enjoy that sort of stuff. But here it is, we're going to be taking a look at a T.Ellin and Company, and this is so T.Ellin, T.Ellin. Now Paddy's potato peelers actually showed one of these very recently. Well, it was a sort of a two-bladed pen knife, and I pretty much fell in love with the Vulcan brand from then. Went on the hunt, managed to find this one at a very reasonable price, and I mean, once you see this thing, I think you'll agree that it's an absolutely wonderful piece. But this is a full-size Stockman, so it is 4 inches, I believe, close length. Apologies, I only have a tape measure here. I don't have anything else to measure with, but yeah, right about the 4 inches closed. We have a wonderful, so it's like a nickel silver shield, which is pinned on. We've got nickel silver pins and nickel silver bolts, which is just slightly pinched on either end. So it's a classic 3-bladed Stockman. You can see all the blades are nicely spaced apart. Now this one does have the tiniest amount of rub on this liner here, but once you open it you can see the liner, you can just make out there's a bit of a gap there. It's slightly bent in this way. Now I could probably correct it, but I don't want to damage the bone, so I've just left it as it is. You can see we have carbon steel back springs with the patina on there, really nice brass liners, but this thing is super tight down there. There's not a gap at all. I've shone a flashlight through there and I cannot see any light poking through. For the age of the knife, I think it's hafted absolutely wonderfully. Now the bone could have been done a little bit better. You can see that, you know, it's not sort of rounded off to match the bolsters, but that's probably just part of the time period of the knife. You can see that it's properly handmade, where a little bit different on both sides. You can see it's a bit higher up here than it is on this side. Bolsters are not identical, but honestly, it's a handmade knife, and this has got to be maybe 60s, maybe earlier, I would have thought. We've got this beautiful brown jigged bone. You can see the colour of the bone coming through, almost like the peach seed jig on a case knife. But let's have a little bit, talk about a bit of the history. So T.Ellin, who would have been responsible for this knife and many other knives, became a master cutler in 1833, which honestly, this company's been going on for so long. It's like late 1700s, I want to say, and then it did sort of get bought out mid sort of 90s, 1900s, something like that. But I will share a link below of where I found all this information from, so you can have a bit of a read, because there's so much and it's really interesting of this company. I had no idea about Ellin and Co until I saw Paddy's video. But here is the tang stamp, so you can see you've got T.Ellin and Co Sheffield. Now Vulcan was one of their maker's marks, or sort of ranges of knives they were given. Now they were given quite a few of them. Let me see if I can find them on here. So he was given Cutter, which was granted to Joseph Ellin in 1849, Vulcan at his forge in Sylvester and Co, Maple Leaf and Lacrosse. So this was all before 1915, so that just shows the age of these sort of knives. You can see, put a nice little edge on there as well. It's a carbon steel blade, little tiny bit of a swedge, nice nail nick, but listen to the snap that's still in this thing. Isn't that wonderful? It's about 7.5 on the pull. That blade is going to come in right at the UK legal limit. So you can see tip to tang is pretty much just shy of 3 inches, and then a cutting edge of 2.6. So very UK legal. I have been carrying this thing the last couple of days, and I wouldn't have any issues with this in the UK. But really wonderful clip point blade on there. Fantastic snap. Sheepsfoot blade as well. Little bit of a swedge on this side. Nail nick. Put a nice edge on it as well. A little bit less of a swedge on this side. But you can see it has a tang stamp on there as well. Vulcan T.Ellin and Co. Excellent snap. Now this blade we are looking at 2¼ inches with a 2-inch cutting edge. So again, a very nice UK legal blade. And I just love how fascinating, or how well this thing is put together for the age of the knife. Apologies, my lighting isn't the best. It gets dark really quickly here in the UK. See that edge on there? And this thing takes a screaming edge, this carbon steel. But I'm amazed at how good condition the blades are in. Normally, traditional knives you pick up of this sort of age, they've been used within an inch of their life, excuse me, and the blades have been whittled down, but it doesn't look like this has been used too much. And if it was used, well, you can see it's scratched. The person that had this knew how to sharpen, because there's no sort of recurve on the blade. It's just got all the material is still on there. And I'm going to say it now, this knife has my favourite Spey blade, and I don't really like Spey blades, but I'll tell you why. To me, this looks like a short and stubby sodbuster blade, although it does have the Spey blade sort of flattened tip up here. If you imagine it without that, doesn't that look like a sodbuster blade? Again, you get the tang stamp on here as well, Vulcan T.Ellin and Co. Sheffield. But look at the belly on that Spey blade. And all these blades have taken a wicked sharp edge. All of them have fantastic walk and torque. No play in any of the blades either. This thing is rock solid. All the blades exactly the same. Not a single bit of play. But really comfortable in the hand. It's that sort of 4-inch handle. I know it's a little bit big for me, can be sometimes, but when you can hold it in this sort of grip, you really do feel like you've got control of the tool. Nice snap. Again, comfortable in this hand. Even the backs of the tangs have been rounded off nicely. There's no sort of hot spots at all. Just love the Sheepsfoot blade on that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But stay tuned, there's going to be a lot more vintage British stuff coming this way on this channel. Kind of got the bug for the older British stuff, and I can't wait to show some of the stuff I've got coming. But really impressed with this thing. It's a wonderful knife to carry. Wonderful piece of the collection. And I'm really glad I managed to pick it up. I got it for an absolute steal of a price. But I hope you enjoyed my overview of this sort of vintage Sheffield knife by T.Ellin and Co. This is part of their Vulcan range. Really hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to like, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.